All right, we're going to start at John chapter 5 and verse 39. So search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and seek not the honor that come from man only? Come from Elohim only. Do not think that I will accuse you. There's one that accused you, even Moses, of whom you trust. So had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Now, I had mentioned this to Dee and Shayla when a couple weeks ago. I asked the rest of y'all while we sitting in here, y'all feel like women mature faster than men? And if you do, why do you feel that way? Like, what is your basis for that information? Based off of what? In general.
In general? I don't know. Like, I don't know how to like express it, but I just give an example. Nisha got siblings, like her sister and her brother. Sister definitely, she's younger and she's more mature than me.
But based off
as
what?
Far as like responsibility and being more organized and stuff like that. He like.
So I wouldn't necessarily equate responsibility with maturity, because you can be immature and be responsible.
I think that a lot of times they teach girls more like you say more responsibility and more kind of boys kind of do that.
But then but again, if that's the case, and most of us come from single parent households, that would mean the woman can't be that mature because she didn't properly train her son. No, I've seen people who have an immature thought process, but they'll pay their bills on time. They'll make sure the stuff that they got taken care of, do that. Because I've seen people who are spiritually immature, which is the same, and they take care of their responsibilities, but yet immature, they have the mind of a child. Because be mature meaning that you think like a child. You don't think like a full-blown adult. And because you can still pay but paying bills is not the scale or measure of maturity.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I feel like even if you're immature as far as paying bills, I feel like people that I know that are immature spiritually or regardless, they may pay a bill, but it may not be consistent. They may not consistently be financially together or plan it out and think it out. I feel like that's maturity. But immature, I feel like, yeah, you know you got a bill, you pay it, you feel like you pay it. That's my opinion.
I don't know anybody who's immature that pays bills.
I've seen plenty.
I think responsibility is part of maturity.
To a certain extent, but that doesn't, because I've seen women who are quote unquote responsible and they dumb as a box of rocks and are greatly immature and have the thought process of a child. You know what I'm saying?
How you mature?
But see, that's the whole key thing, is that we're equating finance with the level to think. To be mature, you think soundly, reasonable, and logically in all scenarios.
How you think reasonable, you can't.
But I've seen women who take care of themselves, but they are not mentally and emotionally mature at all.
I think it's more like
at all.
Instead of mature girls are responsible.
Because the reason why I say that, because if we say girls mature, when I mentioned Friday, then you're saying the creature that was created to be led is wiser than the person who is supposed to be leading her. But I can't see that, because every woman I have rarely met a woman who is not overly emotional. You know what I'm saying? Anyone who is overly emotional is not mature and is not fit to lead anything. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna make decisions based off how you as a whole.
That's what we said. How can you be mature as a whole if you can't be responsible?
But what I'm saying, because as a whole, that means you would be mentally and emotionally mature as well. And the average woman that I have encountered is not mentally and emotionally mature. Period. You know what I'm saying? Because that means you would not be moved. I've met too many women who move by their emotions, and they pay all their bills, and they do all of that because emotions are temporary. So that means you can be moved by how you feel in that moment, and that is not a sign of maturity. Look at all these successful women who consistently pick the wrong men. That is a sign that this woman is not mentally and emotionally mature. Because you would have the maturity to know to avoid this type of man. You wouldn't even choose him. You wouldn't even entertain him. You know what I'm saying? But my main point is, how can the creature that was created to be led be more mentally equipped than the person who led it? So that means that the man and the woman are not mature. If the woman is more mature than the man, then that means in reality she's not mature, and he's probably 3 times as worse. Because if he's not mature, who raised him? You have to look at that. If he's not mature, who raised him? And if his daddy wasn't there, that means his mama raised him. So that means if he's immature, that means his mama can't be mature because she raised him. It's not always going to be 100%. But in general and on average, if that little boy was raised by his mama and he's mentally and emotionally immature, then that means that's what she imparted to him, because that's who taught him and reared him for 20 plus years.
Some people are in a direct relation. Some people come from totally asinine parents that they are.
So that doesn't matter, because that's still on the parent. If you were messed up and who raised you, that's on them. That's why we.
Like my aunt, one of my aunts is totally, and her child turned out to be an immigrant.
So I mean, but I also different, because I was talking about this the other day, because women, for some reason, and I've noticed in my lifetime, are naturally rebellious. They will just naturally buck. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Niggas buck, but if you crash their head, they'll usually get in line. Women just try niggas just to try them, just to see what you're gonna do. And every one of y'all in here know that any man you ever dealt with, you tried him just on the strength, just to see if he was going to act like a man. Men don't do that. I mean, it's hard, because I'm prepping you for this, because y'all finna show you this, because female nature is in this text, and this is how the average woman acts. Doesn't mean all women act that way, but the average woman acts in that fashion. We don't see that there because this society makes you believe that the woman can do no wrong and everything that she does is just and exact. That means that she does not need to be led by a man, which is against the construct of what was created in heaven to begin with, which is why I've always told you, that's why you don't see the word warning a woman about a man, but warning a man about a woman.
So I got a question. So say you was raised one parent, which is the female, and then she had a son and a daughter. So I'm thinking the reason why they say the girl is more mature than the boy is because they both got raised by women, right?
No, what I've seen, because I was going to mention this here, that they say you see in a lot of at least black homes that the mother is harder on the daughter and then lesser on the son. So then the son doesn't grow up to function in his proper capacity because she did everything for him. If he did anything wrong, she didn't hold him accountable, but she treated the daughter like Cinderella, like a real live slave. And that's why I think that's why on some aspects you see the responsibility factor in the young woman is a little stronger than the boy, because that wasn't put in his lap. But at the same token, that is a sign of the mother's immaturity in raising her children in that fashion. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the sign of a mature mind. You wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like when we looking at, because what the book describes as a mature mind is that a sober mind. And a sober mind really is a mind devoid of any emotional inklings and leanings whatsoever. Everything is based off sound reasoning and logic, or in this aspect, righteousness. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at that, if the woman was created for the man and she was created to be led by a man, that means it was the man's duty to teach her, to guide her, and lead her. We live in a society now to where the man has been marginalized and the woman does not feel like she needs that man for that purpose, which again is another sign of immaturity, because you believe that you're greater than the person that you were made for. You know what I'm saying? That goes against your natural instinct. You know what I'm saying? We don't live in a culture now that you were trained to be a wife from the time you were a child. The same difference that you're not trained to be a husband from the time that you're a child. So then you grow up with your mind of what you think a man and woman should be versus what a man and woman was ordained to be from the foundation of the world. And that is a sign of mental and emotional maturity, because you have purchased a narrative and an ideology that is not your own. And instead of seeing the fallacy and the weaknesses in said ideology, you want to hold on to it. Why? Because it gives the woman more power that she would have if that ideology was not spread in the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the stuff, like when you hear dudes say that they don't want to marry, they want to marry a woman from overseas and not a woman from over here, it's because those women over there not necessarily were raised and taught the ideology that women over here are taught. You know what I'm saying? They're raised to be submissive. They're raised to be mothers and wives versus you're raised to focus on your career. And in general, the basis of how good a man is based off his status and his monetary income. So the things that are actually defined of what manhood should be is actually denigrated and pushed to the side. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at that, especially in this society, all the women that we have that are quote unquote successful that can't find a man. So that means whatever these people are pushing, it's not working. It's not working for you because you weren't supposed to be behaving and viewing life in that construct. See, the woman was supposed to walk beside the man because she came from the man, but she's not equal to the man. For lack of better purposes, the man is better than you because that's how Yah made him, because he's the stronger vessel. Why would Yah tell you to dwell with the weaker vessel according to knowledge if she is equal or better than you? That's contradictory to the way of Elohim. So that's why there's no way that a woman could be more mature than a man. How can the weaker be more mature than the stronger? That doesn't make common sense. You know what I'm saying? But if you allow people who are against you, because what they're trying to do is destroy your whole complete family structure, you know what I'm talking about? Then elevate this woman and tell her she's equal and greater than this man, and then you won't function like you're supposed to, and you're going to send out here a bunch of weak men who will not be a threat. Because I told you once, I told you twice, there's not a woman that's a threat to anything on this earth. Women are not a threat. That's why they keep pushing girl power, black girl magic, and all that to make you feel like you a threat. You ain't no threat. Don't the Europeans scared of no woman? I don't care what race she is. What civilization has any woman constructed from the ground up? Not one. You know what I'm saying? Not one. They're not a threat. You know what I'm saying? The threat is the man. When you look in the text, who they tell you to go kill? All the sons and save the women. So if the women was a threat, why would you keep the women alive? You know what I'm saying? It's just for us to understand the places how we're supposed to function. That means that it would be imperative that the man operates how he is supposed. That's why everything falls in his lap. You know what I'm saying? It's your fault because you tolerated it, because you allowed it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't tolerate it and allow it, it has to cease. You imagine how many of our women would stop wearing hair hats if niggas stopped tolerating it? If they stop dressing, if they niggas stop tolerating women dressing like whores, if niggas stop tolerating women posting themselves disrespectfully for attention, it would stop. But because the head is doing this and allowing the weaker vessel to do so, then she will continue to do so, which is again a sign of her lack of maturity because she would not need to do that to garner attention from these men. You know what I'm saying? That's not a sign of maturity. It's a lot of things. Boy, we've already seen our community been led by women for probably about the last 30 years, and you see what it got us. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even longer than that. That's not the case. See, as we were talking about before, America is a goddess worship nation. Pretty much like every religion known to earth, you can research it for yourself, have goddess worship contained in it. The way of Yahuwah is the only religious structure on the earth that there's no goddess worship in it whatsoever. That it is a complete 1000% masculine principle. You know what I'm saying? There's no feminine involved. You go to anything else, femininity is involved. Why is it involved? Because I want you to teach you to worship and venerate the woman and put her on a pedestal, and therefore you would denigrate and bring down the masculine principle, which is Yahuwah, and by proxy commit blasphemy against it. Even without your knowledge. You don't even have to be consciously knowing this is what you're doing. But that's their intent. Why do you think, what's his name is? You remember Phineas? Who remembers Phineas? You remember Phineas? What did Phineas do, sir? And who was they worshiping? And what's the science behind ball pure? What ball pure like have going on? Huh? But it's a goddess worship. You know what I'm saying? It's a goddess worship. You know what I'm saying? And he snapped about that. Y'all, how many times have y'all seen people say that we can't say that God is a masculine and not feminine? Talking about the God of heaven and earth. You know what I'm saying? People say that because that's to make him equal with the woman. Then when you make him equal with a woman, you blaspheme because now I can have you worshiping the woman. You lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, it hurt people's feelings. But like when you see children of God in there, it doesn't say that. It says sons every single solitary time. The only time it say daughters of Elohim is in 2 Corinthians chapter 7 or chapter 6. But anywhere else in the text, when they say the children of Jacob, it say the sons of Jacob. When they say the children of Israel, it say the sons of Israel. That's what it say. Because that's who he's referring to. He's talking to the men. It was always the man's job to teach his wife. It was always the man's job to teach his children. It was never the woman's job to teach her children. Not no word. That was never her job. That was never her place. Yah never ordained that. Remember, Yah's a masculine man. He knows a man is supposed to lead and guide and stand for what righteousness is. It's your job to teach this woman. Why would this man say it's the job of the man to lead the wife and then you're not doing it? It means you're not functioning how a man is supposed to be. We're not functioning how men are supposed to be because we're not taught how to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard a brother say the other day, he said he feel like a man shouldn't have a child till he's 35 years old. In this society. You know what I'm saying? To where he can grow in himself as a man and have a little bit better sense to know what to do with a child and to lead his woman in raising that child. Because this society is backwards. It is completely backwards. You know what I'm saying? And it'll have you thinking that good is evil and evil is good and left is right and right is left. You know what I'm saying? That's how you backwards. But Proverbs 5:1. That's why for the most part, when you see like a real masculine man, that's why they're rejected. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of women don't want to fool with him because he's not going to let you have your way and he's not going to pander to you. That doesn't mean that he's not going to serve you and love you and cherish you and honor you. He's not going to pander to you. There's a difference. This is why the book, again, I will reiterate that Proverbs 31 tells you to not give your strength to a woman. Nowhere in the text does it tell a woman don't give her strength to a man because she's supposed to do that. Her duty in life was to serve her husband. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all have ever been taught that in your life that your job was to serve your husband? No, I'm talking about not just cooking and cleaning. I'm talking about serve your husband. You know how many young girls ain't never heard that? That don't even know that? That's why a lot of women come and fight with their husband. You know what I'm saying? You ain't supposed to be fighting with your husband. Y'all on the same team. Proverbs 5:1. Listen what he say. He leads off again. He says, my son, attend unto my wisdom and bow your ear to my understanding. So the first thing he tell you is that you need to bow down your ear to his understanding. And let's take a look at that. We talked about attend the other day. That's kashab. But understanding of the word is a little different. And it's tabaun. And that's the act of understanding, but also intelligence and insight and the faculty or the ability to understand. So you have to make sure that this is what you do. Next to the next part, he said that you may regard discretion and that your lips may keep knowledge. So this is the reason why he wants you to bow down your ear to understanding and attend. When it says that you may regard, that's shamar again. So that's hearing with the intent to listen and to obey. But we want discretion, and that's the word for your devices and plots. So you'll regard what it is that you're doing, and that your mouth might keep the word in it. See, come on back over here, right? The first Peter chapter 3. I mentioned it, but we'll sit back and look at it. Because the reality of the structure is our people are only going to go as far as the men take them. You know what I'm saying? Your household can only go as far as your husband can take it. At the end of the day, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? First Peter chapter 3, right, about verse 6. It said, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters you are, as long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement. Likewise, you husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. Give honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers may not be hindered. Now let me ask y'all this question right here, right? What do you think he means when he says to give honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel? Because see, I'm going to show you all something in that with Mashiach. But what y'all think he mean when he say to honor your wife as unto the weaker vessel, to give her that same type of honor?
He trying to make a comparison like the servant not above his master.
You can look at that in that regard, because that's the fact. You know what I'm saying? Let's take a look at it, right? Matthew chapter 25. Or Matthew 22, I should say. Because remember, what did we read in 2 Samuel 23? What does he say that he that rule over men got to be? If you're going to rule over man, you have to be just. And you have to rule in the fear of Yah. So if you the head of that household, then you supposed to know the word to be able to do that, to give honor unto the weaker vessel. And that's what I was mentioning before, that service is different than pandering and catering. You know what I'm saying? Because if you serve your woman, and your service to your woman, you will show her that you love her. But your service is going to be according to the word and not her feeling, because the text says she's the weaker vessel, and we're using this as a comparison that we are the weaker vessel to Yahusha. You the weaker vessel. You know what I'm saying? Because you are the woman. You are his wife. You understand? That's why you have to sit back and look at it. And that's why I say when you look at it from the construct of looking at the male and female psychology and interaction according to Yahusha and Yasharal, you will see that the woman is never going to be more mature than the man. It's going to be completely impossible, because she was never created to be more mature than the man. So some of the things that it looked like that she feel like she's more mature in, she's actually being deceived in her own mind, as Yasharal was being deceived in their own mind, that what they were doing was beneficial. In the book of Hosea, he said, Yasharal, you have destroyed yourself, but in me is your help. When we look at our woman in this current state, she has destroyed herself. Why has she destroyed herself? Integration, upward mobility, things of that nature, to women's lib and all that stuff. Like a lot of women took hold to the feminist movement, and that had nothing to do with you. I heard a woman talking about the other day, she was like, those women fought for our rights. Them white women was fighting to vote. They wasn't fighting to be equal. A lot of people don't even realize the plan that they came up with, a lot of stuff to get the woman out the house to work, because it would cause the state to become your child's parent. And just because the woman couldn't peep that game, it shows that she's not mature to the man, because she should have been able to peep the play and what they was doing. You know what I'm saying? Because most women in this society are taught to try to replace your man with the state in some shape, form, or fashion. And that doesn't necessarily have to be welfare. You know what I'm saying? And to keep that man and woman at odds with one another, so they can never link and be one as Yahuwah ordained in Genesis in the garden. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to see that. If you live in it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, just period. If you live where someone panders to your emotions and your desires, you will always be easily manipulated and destroyed, because all I have to do is give you what you feel and give you what you want. And if I continually give you what you feel and give you what you want, I can pull your purse strings and make you go against the other party that I don't want to elevate. You know what I'm saying? We could go outside somewhere right now. Y'all already know that ain't no police gonna fool with y'all. Women, ain't no police gonna run up on y'all. They're gonna run up on us though. They're gonna ask us for identification. They're gonna pat us down. They're not gonna run up on y'all. For what? What would be their purpose? You hear about black women getting killed by the police, but it's not nowhere near in the amount that it is men, because you're not a threat. You are no danger to the white supremacist structure in the United States of America. No danger. You can get all the entrepreneurs, you can be on all the businesses you want. You can have all the degrees you want, and them crackers is not laying up at night worrying about you. When they came up with COINTELPRO, they didn't say we need to stop the rise of a black woman. They say we need to stop the rise of a black Messiah to galvanize these people. That's who they were scared of. You see, they ain't knock off Rosa Parks. They knocked off Medgar Evers, though. You know what I'm saying? They knocked off Malcolm, though. They knocked off Fred Hampton, though. And I would say out of who I just mentioned, I would say that maybe Fred Hampton and Medgar Evers might have been the realest ones out of the group. The rest of them might have been puppets, too. Whole time. You know what I'm talking about? But you don't hear during the quote-unquote civil rights era too many women getting murdered. But they killed none but black men because that's the threat. That doesn't mean that the women weren't right there with them, but those women aren't the threat. They're not the organizers in the setting of the structure that could topple their systems. That's why they're not worried about you. They ain't even worried about their own women. Shoot, they don't even want their own women. They want their women to go somewhere and leave them alone. And that's just coming from studying history. If you study history and look in history, the woman has never been a threat, ever. And she's never constructed anything that was a threat to any man in the history of mankind. Have there been women who have elevated to certain statures to be queens in certain societies? Absolutely. They didn't last long, though. You know what I'm saying?
And that's not Queen Victoria.
Yeah, she was ruthless. I was just going to mention, she was very ruthless. But she didn't create that monarchy that she ascended to. She didn't create that. You know what I'm saying? She didn't create that at all. And truth be told, most goddess worship goes back to one bald-headed hoe, and that's Isis. You know what I'm saying? That's where it goes back to. That's who they really on the low trying to get you to worship by worshiping the female principle. Because that's who they worship. You gotta remember, everything these Caucasians got, they took it from Egypt and Babylon. That's the basis of what they do. They worship Isis. They esteem the one. That's why you always see the Black Madonna. They're not even focused on the baby. They don't even care about. In the Catholic Church, Mary is greater than the Lord. Because they're goddess worshipers. And so they want you to worship the female principle. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you see that in this society. See, wisdom would allow you to know that and understand that and see that. Most women just see that girl power. Look at this stupid junk with abortion. They're trying to steal our rights to our body. Nigga, what? How do you sound? It's not even your body. It belongs to the Lord. But that's again on the man's cause. Why would you impregnate a woman who would kill your baby? That's on you, nigga. Because you shouldn't have messed with that raggedy hoe. You know what I'm saying? I can't put that at her feet. That's on you. You didn't take the time to vet that woman and know that woman's character and personality before you put your penis in her. So that's on you. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame that woman for that. That's on you. Because guess what? Yeah, the woman carried the baby, but you have the seed to create the baby. So your seed is precious because she can't have a child without your seed. So why are you planting your seed in unfertile ground? Doesn't make sense. Why would you put your seed in a woman who is not fit to be a wife or a mother? Because she look good? You stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. Because you can control that. You know what I'm saying? And that's in order for our men to be where we're supposed to be, that means we have to take accountability that we are not properly functioning and that we are not thinking in the proper fashion and stop saying it's the woman's fault or the women ain't doing this. I ain't worried about what she's doing. She'll do what she's supposed to do when you do what you're supposed to do. She'll have no choice because she won't have no man. She'll be a dyke or she'll be a school mom by herself with cats. She don't have no choice. She either gonna have to get with the program or be by herself. It's as simple as that. Because that's the structure that y'all made. That's what it is. That's what it's always gonna be. And this is Matthew chapter 20. Was it 20? It's 21. Is it 21? Yeah, I know it, but that was the wrong chapter. I made a mistake. That's what I'm saying. 20 and 24. I made a mistake. It's chapter 20, not 22. My apologies. That's all I'm saying, right? See, that's the thing, right? That's the accountability factor. The man is accountable because you're the leader. I mean, we just talked about that the other day. If the company is not going how you want it to go, that's the CEO's fault. You can't blame the employees. If your household ain't moving how you want it, you don't blame your wife. You got to look at yourself and say, what is it that I'm not doing? And what is it that I can do to assist her to do her job? That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? You can't be at the top of an organizational structure and point the finger at the people below you. That's poor leadership. You know what I'm saying? That's poor leadership. It's only one instance where we can look at that where the leader wasn't to blame, and that's what Yahuwah. Yahuwah wasn't to blame. You know what I'm saying? That was our fault. Outside of that, if stuff ain't going how you want it, that's on the man. Ain't never gonna blame no. You don't blame that woman for nothing unless you see she wicked. And then if she wicked, then you just leave her alone. See, it's one thing a man should never do, and that's chase after a woman. Just go ahead and let her go on about her business. She having a conniption in the middle of the street, just let her go ahead and have it. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead. It's not worth it. Don't debase yourself. Don't debase your manhood for the pleasing of a woman. This was one of the instances where he tell you, don't give your strength to a woman. See, if you regard devices and plots, and again, he finna tell you about an old wicked woman in a minute. This is why he's telling you to attend under wisdom and bow your ear to understanding so you can see the plots of a woman. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can see it. Matthew chapter 20 and verse 24. And when the 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation against the two brethren. But Yahusha called them unto him and said, you know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Now, this is what it said, even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many. So let's look at the text, because if you're looking at service, we're going to look in the law. Let's see what that service of that man is. Y'all know what it is, but we're just going to read it. Genesis chapter 3. See, just imagine, let's ask yourself, you think Yahuwah is pleased? Like now you don't even have, like I just seen a brother, he just dropped this other day in this true story. You know, up to 1973, you know, it was considered to be a mental disorder to be a sodomite. You know what I'm saying? Were y'all aware of that? Yes, up to 1973, if you was a homosexual, you were considered to be mentally ill and have a mental disorder. And it's true, because something is wrong with you. Something is clearly wrong with your brain. You know what I'm saying? Because and the reason why the study came back out is because people are trying to say that little kids are born gay when a child doesn't even have the concept of their name until a certain age, much less to have sexual attraction to the opposite sex, much less the same one. He 2 years old, he know he want to be a girl. How? He doesn't even have a concept that he's a boy. You know what I'm saying? And see, I'm mentioning that because if you look in this society, you don't have a concept of what it is to be a man or a woman. And we think Yahuwah pleased with that. Like, let's just put all the other stuff that go on in America. Do you think he's just pleased with the dysfunction that goes on amongst his people in their household? Because if the woman's the head of the household already messed up. You know what I'm saying? The household's already messed up. I done told you this before, man. The worst thing in life to see is a man who's ran by his woman. You know what I'm saying? That's a horrible thing to see. And guess what? Don't damn one of y'all in here want no weak man. Y'all can talk that gangster stuff, but at the end of the day, y'all don't want no weak man neither. Unless you're masculine. You don't find that attractive. You might settle for a weak man and be with him, but he don't get your engine running. That don't do nothing for you. But you'll just be with him. I just seen that brother say he ain't touched his wife but 3 times all of 2019. You know what I'm saying? But you know why? Because she's not sexually attracted to him because he is a weak man. Yeah, she married him. He take care of her. He does everything he's supposed to be doing, but yet he's weak. So she drives the Sahara. She don't want nothing for him. It's obligatory. I told you it's transactional sex. She don't want nothing to do with him. She do all the stuff. He do all the stuff that women say they want a man to do, but yet she finds him sexually reprehensible. You know what I'm saying? And in her mind, and then the brother asked her, he say, what have you done for your husband in the last 11 years? And the woman said, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, is Yahuwah pleased with that? Because then we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing for our husband if we his wife? Because he dwelling with us according to knowledge. And he giving honor to us under the weaker vessel because he's serving you. I ain't going to pull Romans 9, but Romans 9, he said the covenant contains what? The adoption, the service of Elohim. Well, I'm going to have to pull it. It'll be improper if I don't. Genesis chapter 3, though, right? About verse 17. Genesis 3:17. And he said, and under Adam he said, because you hearken unto the voice of your wife, and eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake, and sorrow you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Now also, looking in Genesis, this also shows you that the woman is not mature than the man, because she was the one who went by her desire and did that. Also, if you pay attention in the text, Satan always come at the woman, because the woman is the way to the man. If I can get to that woman, then I can get to that man. You know what I'm saying? And we can see that in Proverbs when we're dealing with using the woman being Yasharal to get at Yahusha for him to sacrifice. Even though it was ordained, he knew it was coming. But when you look in the text, and when I say go through the woman, because she's the weaker vessel. So Satan's never going to come at the stronger, because it doesn't make sense. I'm not going to defeat him. But if I know you have an affinity for this woman, then I'm going to try to get to you through this woman. And if I can get this woman, then I know I can get you if you're not standing on 10 toes. What got Solomon done in? His wives. Why? Because he wanted to please them. You know what I'm saying? See, y'all don't realize, see, most women, y'all know that. You know, if a man like you or love you, he's going to be more inclined to try to please you. And in the midst of trying to please you, some niggas will go against their God to do it. You know what I'm saying? They'll go against what's right to please their woman. It's not a lot of dudes that'll look their woman in the face and tell them, no, that's wrong. That's not what's happening. Because he don't want to lose no coochie. He don't want to argue with her. He don't want to see her upset. So he go along with it. There's very few men that's going to be like, no, that's not happening. And I don't care if you're going to get mad. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just going to have to be mad. But we can't do that here. Because what did it say when Eve saw the tree? What did she say? What did she say about that tree, man? How did she describe it?
Make her wise.
Make her wise, and what else it said? She said. And then she also said that it looks like it's good for food and it's pleasing to the eyes. And this is why in Timothy, he tell you a woman who lived in pleasure is dead while she lived, because a woman is emotional. So she's going to go by how she feels and not necessarily. Remember, she said what she was supposed to do. She spit the logic and righteousness right back to him. But she went with how she felt. You know what I'm saying? And that show you from the jump street. That's what, because who did he go off on? He went off on Adam. Yeah, he put a curse on Eve, but who did he go to? He didn't go off on Eve. He went off on Adam. Because I look here, right? She wrong, but nigga, you knew. And you were supposed to lead properly. And you went right along with it. You know what I'm saying? You went right along with it. You didn't see him going no long thing. Eve, you big dummy, what were you doing? He went straight to Adam. When he say, why y'all got it? She said, I ate. He said, I ate of the tree. That's why it's saying Job 31 and 33, if you try to hide your iniquity in your bosom like Adam. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to take accountability for what you did not do in regards to being the head of this household. Because it's not about where was he when the serpent stepped to Eve. It was about what he did once he seen what occurred. You know what I'm saying? Once you see what occurred as a man, you supposed to put your foot down. This is not what's happening. See, we're not doing that over here. We don't do that here. That's why you see that. Y'all ain't coming to no woman holding her responsible for something he told a man to do. Verse 17, right? And unto Adam he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For dust you are, and dust you shall return. So he let this man know that he would have to live his life in the service of providing for his wife till he dies. You understand? Now come over here to Romans chapter 9. How old was some of y'all when y'all realized that y'all could convince men to do things that you wanted them to do?
You said old.
How old you was? You ain't think about it. How old you was, Shayla? Just the fact that you're a woman and that he like you and you know that I can get this nigga to do stuff I want him to do.
Yeah, I haven't seen that
You probably did subconsciously. You probably subconsciously knew that you could use your feminine wares to get a nigga to do something. Straight up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, let me sharpen that blade.
Look at him, young simping. That ain't no Casanova, that's simping. See, this is, and let me let y'all know what simping is. Simping, by definition, is doing something for a woman with the expectation of getting some sexual favor, but you know that she has no intent on fooling with you in that purpose. You know what I'm saying? See, it's different if you do something for a woman and you have no thought of getting anything from her. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a dude, he'll buy a woman something. He ain't got no thought of, oh, she'll give me some coochie if I do this. No, I would say 85% of men do stuff and they think if they do that, that coochie coming back in return. And I might need to bump that up to 95. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe 98.9. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, because why else would you do it?
Some dudes who do it, they do it because I rock with you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want nothing from you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, hey, I rock with you like that. And I'm not doing this thinking you will give me sexual gratification in return if I do it. I'm doing it because I rock with you like that. You know what I'm saying? If a dude do something for sexual gratification, that means he might not really rock with you like that. You know what I'm saying? That once he get it, he gone.
Niggas say that's simple. You do something
Because and 9 times out of 10, that's a nigga who drives a cement truck, done got did dirty, because it's like this here, right? It's like how Too Short put it. And Trina said she was about 10 or 11 when she realized it. He was like, it's not.
You know what, a lady, not Trina.
Oh, I thought Trina bad as
You said, of course she was.
I thought he meant Trina the rapper.
No,
Of course she was.
God.
Because he said Too Short. I'm thinking.
Oh no, but Too Short was like, it's not. He don't view it as tricking. If I say I'm gonna take this woman out to dinner, I'm gonna do this here, and I have no thought of getting sex from you. I'm not doing it with the intent of you'll sleep with me. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing it with the intent of she will sleep with me, but then she's not reciprocating anything back in return, you simping. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why you're doing it. If you didn't have a thought or drive that you wanted to have some type of physical gratification from this woman, you wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? See, the average dude wouldn't know that. Just call that simping because he's shocked that he ain't doing it for sex. See, everything that nigga do, he doing for sex, which means you are a simp. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing it for sex. And that's why I say that's where the discernment come in from a woman. Because if a nigga doing it for sex, he don't fool with you. That nigga gonna hit you up a couple times, and when he get tired of you, he gonna slide. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, you already know like this here, right? And I used to mess with a chick about this all the time. You know, dudes don't get amped up when somebody come tell them they look good. You know what I'm saying? Well, you can send a woman through the roof with that. You know what I'm saying? Because dudes don't get a lot of compliments. So much. You're so handsome. You so fine. Well, niggas don't get gassed by that.
That shit's true.
And 9 times out of 10, if you see them get gassed on that, they usually are not a masculine man. You know what I'm saying? They're usually a man securing himself is not gonna get gassed up by that. Straight up and down, because that's not gonna move. Because the man's different than a woman. He doesn't judge himself based off his physical appearance like a woman. Men don't walk around and be like, "Baby, you think I'm getting fat?" Niggas don't ask their old lady, don't jump like that. You know what I'm saying? Well, you looking like that? He didn't ask you that. I know that, but I just felt like messing with you at that time. Romans chapter 9, verse 4. He said, who are of Yasharal, to whom pertain the adoption, the esteem, the covenants, giving of Torah, service of Elohim, and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom as concerning the flesh of Mashiach came, who is over all, Elohim Baruch forever, amen. So notice that these are the things that pertain to service. This is how he gives honor unto the weaker vessel. So when you look at that and you're a man and you're married and you know that you're in a covenant with this woman, then to give honor to this woman is to honor that covenant and serve her accordingly. Is the honor is if you were given the Torah, you were given the Torah in order to do what? To teach that woman or to teach Yasharal. So to honor her, you would be doing that. And then you would be performing the service of Elohim. What are some of the things he told us when we came in the land you ain't have to do? You ain't have to build no house, did it? You ain't have to worry about no food. You ain't have to worry about no protection. All that's part of the service. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to clothe you. That's how you give honor to her. You know what I'm saying? Giving honor to her ain't kissing her behind and telling her how great she is. That's what they tell you honor is, and that's vice versa. Because how does the woman honor her husband? By submitting to him. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about making a difference between what this society says it is to honor your mate and versus what Yah says it is to honor your mate. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you can't give some platitudes to your spouse, but you got to understand that's not honor. By just telling people you're so beautiful and you're so great, because you're appealing to a person's flesh with those type of conversations. You know what I'm saying? All that could do is make the person hardy. That's vice versa. You don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able, like I said, man, we live in a society that hasn't seen the love of Elohim, that the average woman wouldn't recognize it. And if she saw it, she would think it was oppressive. She would think it would be stifling her as a woman, and she would reject it. You know what I'm saying? And then go get the love from a nigga from the world and then complain by how he treats you bad and you want a godly man. This is the cycle that the mass majority of our women go through on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? I want a godly man. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because there's a standard and a level of accountability that comes with that. Which meaning in reality, our people as a whole don't want our God. We don't want that godly man. We want ball over here.
I didn't know this was going to be with someone.
Come on to Proverbs chapter 5. Now, the part that I was going to mention more specifically about how Yahusha showed honor to the weaker vessel is that he poured out the Ruach HaKadosh on that weaker vessel, and you got to be able to be honored by Elohim by the giving of the Ruach. But let's just look at that, John 14, because let's just look at it. And then I want to say maybe Romans 8, but I'm not sure. Maybe Galatians is going through my brain. Because the Ruach HaKadosh is an honor, is it not? And is it not given to the man who is the weaker vessel? So that's him dwelling with his wife according to knowledge and giving honor unto the weaker vessel. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? You're made of what? Dust and ashes, and your mind is vanity. But if I pour this Ruach upon you, then I can show you honor, and I can lead this weaker vessel, which is this flesh, and I can lead you about according to my knowledge, because I bring to remembrance everything that I said unto you, and I can direct my wife accordingly. John 14 and 15. If you love me, keep my commandments. And I will pray Abba, and he will give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Ruach of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it see him not, and neither know him, but you know him, for he dwell with you and shall be in you, and I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. Now, see, I was going to grab Ephesians 5 too, because he told you what husbands. Love your wives, right? Let's look at Ephesians 5. Now, notice, right, I didn't read verse 26. He said he'll bring to remembrance everything that he said to you. See, when you receive we were talking about it last night, right? And because he just mentioned what we talked about a couple weeks ago. Yahuwah don't see nobody but his son. That's all he sees. Notice what it said that with that Ruach of truth, that the world couldn't receive it because what? They neither known him or seen him. And see, and that's going to the point what I'm telling you, that the average woman wouldn't know a godly man if he was standing right in front of her face, because she's of the world. And then you have some men who wouldn't know a godly woman if she was standing in front of in his face, because he of the world. And you're incapable of being compatible with such a person. 5 and 22, Ephesians. And the reason why it's incompatible is because that mind frame is incompatible with Yahuwah. You understand? You can't have a carnal mind and a spiritual mind meet together. And again, the whole point of looking at the female nature is to see how we behave as a people and to not do it. Because, yeah, you can look at it on the natural level. It's literally talking about a woman. But beyond that, it's talking about us as a whole, as a body of people, as a group of people. We conduct ourselves as a strange, wayward, mentally immature woman. Basically, a child with breasts. Ephesians 5 and 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Mashal is the head of the body, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the house is subject unto her Mashiach, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Now, of course, we know in this society, that's telling you that that's not right anymore. For her to be subject or to be in compliance to her husband in everything. But again, what is this construct, this mystery really about? Our service to Yahusha, which means our service to our Father in heaven. That's really what he's trying to do, that construct, because if you can walk this out on earth, then I know that you can manifest that towards that which is in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Remember, in the quote-unquote Lord's Prayer, what he said, in earth as it was. So that means everything that's done on the earth is supposed to be an exact replica of what's in heaven. An exact replica. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've been mentioning, Shalom, man, mentioning some of this stuff. And you need to get you the mind of the mind which is in heaven and put this worldly stuff and all that other stuff to the side. Because that junk ain't hitting on nothing. You're not manifesting heaven on the earth. You're manifesting your own will. It means you're manifesting your own pleasure, and you're going to be dead while you live, while you seek to please yourself. That's male or female. But that's 1 Timothy 5 and 6, if you're not aware, where it says a woman who live in pleasure, she dead while she lived. You know what I'm saying? There's like brother was talking about this the other day. You already know this here, right? And in antiquity, men got straight virgins. You didn't even have an opportunity as a woman to entertain any other man because you were not going to get the opportunity to play the whore in your father's house. They weren't even going to give you the opportunity for you to, I like him. I want to talk. They ain't give you that opportunity. You marrying him because you ain't going to do that. Because the minute we start letting you do that, whoredom spreads in the land. Huh? Because that's not what it is. See, America teaches, go and get your career. Didn't have to do this and do that. But y'all wanted to make sure, oh, no, that's why he told you don't prostitute your daughter. Don't be putting your daughter in a whole bunch of niggas' faces, talking about who want to marry my daughter. I got a nice one. Because remember, you served your father in his house. That's why that man paid your daddy a dowry for the loss of service in his house. Because that woman was a purchased possession. That's why people feel like, why you look at a woman as they don't like that, but that's Yah's order. That's who they really have a problem with. When you see any woman or man that has a problem with masculinity in the true sense of what it is according to Yahuwah, that means they hate Yah. That's who they really got a problem with. 5 and what? 25, husbands, love your wives. Even as Mashal also loved the body and gave himself for it. Remember what he said, I won't leave you comfortless. Remember, he told him it's expedient that I go away or the comforter cannot come. He said that he might sanctify and cleanse it by the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself an esteemed body, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that it should be kadosh and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that love his wife, love himself. See, that goes again on showing honor to the weaker vessel. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you love yourself, you can love your wife. If a man can't love his wife properly, that's representative of how he feels about himself. You know what I'm saying? That's how he feels about himself. But see, this time frame period is different because if you was as a man or a woman would take your time and get to know the individual, then you would know if this man loved himself in order for him to love you. You know what I'm saying? But everybody be in a hurry. I'm ready to get married. I want to get married. Go ahead then. Do your thing. So, for no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourish and cherish it, even as the Lord the body. For we are members of his flesh and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. As he was discussing this the other day, man, ain't nobody, your mammy. See, this is what we was talking about in that video when dude was like, a man got to take control of his life. Sometimes you got to look your mom in the face and say, mama, sit down. This is what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? Period. That's not disrespecting or dishonoring your mama. You the man. You supposed to tell your mama, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And this is what it's going to be. Period. And if you don't like it, that's on you. Your mama ain't supposed to be telling you what to do and leading your, especially if you got a wife, and your mama ain't never supposed to come to you and disrespect your wife or come in your house and tell your wife what she should or should not be doing. That means you got to tell your mama you need to slide. You need to slide. There's a reason why the law say you leave your father and mother and cleave to your wife. Mama, you ain't got nothing to do with this over here. So you need to stay in your place. Your mama don't need to come tell you how to raise your children or none of that. You need to stay in your place. And as a man, that's not your wife's job to tell her that. You supposed to go tell your mammy that. And if her mammy acting like that, then you supposed to go over there and tell her mammy that too. You know what I'm saying? What you mean? How you gonna be the leader and the representative of an organization, but you too scared to tell some woman, stay out of our business, ain't got nothing to do with you. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Mind your business. You know what I'm saying? Mind your business. These not your children. This not your wife. That's my wife. These my children. You know what I'm saying? Stay in your place. You can do that and not be disrespectful. I done told you, man, I told my mom a couple times about certain stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? That's not what it is. We're not doing that here. No, that's not what's happening. It's not what's happening. You a man, you're supposed to do that. Doesn't matter if it's your mama, your grandmama. You're not supposed to be subservient to them. You're supposed to honor them. There's a difference. You're not their child anymore. You're a grown man. You got no business being subservient to your mama and you got a wife and kids. I mean, you're not fit to lead. You a simp. You scared of a woman because you won't stand in your position and lead as a man is supposed to and take control. You have to take control, mama. I appreciate your input, but you could have kept that to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, a man, your daddy usually not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? He might say, son, I'm going to just give you words of advice, and he going to go about his business. You know what I'm saying? But you have some mother-in-laws, be a little intrusive. You got some father-in-laws a little intrusive, but on average, that's usually the mother that does that. And you got to keep her in her place. You a man, you got to be a man. You got to be a man. Like I say, as a woman, how would y'all women feel if you seen your husband, mama, running him? Would that cause you to have more respect for him, or would it cause you to lose respect for him? You should never have to come to him. You need to talk to your mom. He should already handle that as soon as he seen it. You shouldn't have to come to your husband and tell him to straighten your mama when he see blatant disrespect. Because who is your loyalty to, your wife or your mama? You would hope. But some niggas loyalty to their mammy. You know what I'm saying? But your loyalty is supposed to be your wife. Your wife's supposed to come first. Once you get married, your mama on the back burner. You got some niggas feel like their mama is on equal footing as their wife. I done seen them stupid mean who gonna come first, your mama or your wife. If you gotta ask that question, you's a whole hoe out here.
My question would be, who is your daddy? Because clearly,
Facts.
That don't make sense.
It don't make sense.
That should be done. Especially if you got a daddy. Yeah, period.
But guess what though? A lot of dudes don't come up with no daddy. So mama is all he ever known, and all she ever had. Got to do about my man. That's my man. All that stuff that some of these women be talking about their son. That junk's disgusting. My son, my best friend. This niggas too. But guess what? But guess what? This is what I mean about the woman is not more mature than the man. Because guess what he gonna end up doing when he get older? Leaning to his mama over his wife. Because that's what he been doing his whole life. He'll never be man enough to stand up to his mama and put her in her place. He'll never be able to do it. Like you just said, sexy face. That's gonna kill me when I see a nigga talking about my baby is my best friend and this nigga's too. You know what I'm saying? How is he your best friend? Why is your child even your friend? Nigga, I ain't none of your friend. You know what I'm talking about? I'm your daddy. And that's what it's gonna be, and that's what it's always gonna be. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not your friend. And guess what that ends up happening? Of course, it's been happening more in this generation of women having kids and wanting to be more their friends than their parents. And that is a sign of immaturity. And get what? That woman might pay all her bills and do all of that, but she is mentally and emotionally immature. You know what I'm saying? Because she's not mature enough to know that I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. And there's reasons for that. There's a lot of reasons that go into that. Some of it is the intrinsic nature of a woman. Some of it is the childhood traumas or experiences that they may have had that shape their thought process. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of
Some
factors.
would be like, I know girls who who not with the father of their child, like you still love him, and that's kind of like your child is on the connection when you have, so you call. So like you explain to the child because they're reminded of that. But I've seen it.
And that's mentally immature and emotionally immature.
Yeah, but
Damn weird.
Very weird.
Call your son my sexy place.
Makes no sense.
You know, I tell you.
And he might grow up with an Oedipus complex and might want to sleep with his mama like you like your boy. What his name was? Jody. You don't want nobody else to be with your mama but you.
no, I just don't want that.
No, I say because that's what the other character said. He said he had an Oedipus complex, which is basically you have a sexual desire for your mama. You know what I'm saying? But you have to see that though, man. Like you sit back under close examination. No, like I just seen a woman said her sons were successful because one was a lawyer and a doctor and an entrepreneur. That means he a real man. Because most women equate masculinity with status and finance, and that doesn't make you a man. You know what I'm saying? You could be a man. I done met a lot of niggas who had money who were not men. Them niggas was holding niggas to the coat. Niggas had plenty of bread. You know what I'm saying? That time don't mean nothing. But also, of course, you living in a society where women are setting the standard of what a man is, so you already know you mentally immature if the woman setting that standard. Because how can a woman tell her what a real man is? What a real man to her is what she feels like that is in her mind. But then the things that she say is not even the things that she would desire or be attracted to. She wouldn't even want that type of man as her man. But nevertheless. See, this is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Hamashiach and the body. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. Remember when I was talking to y'all about that? The woman, you got to admire your husband. You have to have a level of respect for his character. And what type, you can't reverence a man you don't respect. Like this here, right? I've always felt like this here, man. If once a woman shows you or tells you she don't respect you, you got to leave that woman alone. You got to leave her alone right then and there on the spot. Ain't nothing to fix. You can't fix that. You know what I'm saying? You can't fix that. Now, you can't fix that. If that woman don't respect you, leave that woman alone. You know what I'm saying? Just get your new. Unless you've been married, then I feel for you. But yeah, you gotta leave that woman alone. No, because how are you gonna be able to lead someone who don't respect you? That means they're gonna constantly and consistently challenge you everywhere that you go. And how have y'all seen this here? Not in a relationship with no man and a woman. You've seen that with people who don't respect Yah. They question everything in his doctrine, everything in his standard of why they don't want to do something or follow something because they don't respect Yah. And what does Yah do? He gives them over to a reprobate mind and cut them off. Because Yah's not going to fool with somebody who don't respect him. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think the book always constantly telling you to fear Yah? And fear Yah because you're supposed to reverence your husband. You're supposed to reverence him. You're supposed to honor him and respect him. You're supposed to have some admiration for him. You know what I'm saying? If a woman has admiration for a man, that love between her and him will never fail. The minute she lose respect for him, it's over. I ain't never seen a woman re-respect no man she lost respect for. I ain't never seen it. Shoot, I ain't never seen a man re-respect a nigga he lost respect for. I ain't never seen it. Y'all may have seen it. With y'all, all things are possible. But with man, my personal opinion, that's impossible. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how y'all feel. You can share if you like. Proverbs chapter 5. No, I'm just letting you know where we're going. But you can go ahead and you can share if you like. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen it. I don't believe it's possible in the realm of human to human. 5. We in about bird. I'm gonna read bird too. Yes, man. Cause say you ain't come and bring no bills for him. He said, I ain't begging. He's supposed to share. We are one body. Say, don't neglect your hand. He said, don't neglect the hand. The guy they look, he said, you're a gentleman and a scholar. He said, you gotta. He said, you ought to break bread. He said, it's the Yahoo Dean thing to do. And that's why he said he appreciate it. Look at it. He gave you the thumb, he gave you the finger like on the basketball court. Nice pass. He appreciates it. He coming back for more. He said, dish him off again with another assist.
He has his own life.
I ain't mad at my dog, man. Go and get you some fruit. Look how you looking at him. You let him know it's respect. It's respect. Proverbs 5:2. He said that you may regard discretion and that your lips make you remember, right, that you may regard or give heed to plots, plans, and devices. Look what he said. For the lips of the strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. Now, see this here. Now, this is the first instance as we come through Proverbs that you see him warning you about a woman. Now, for the word for strange, when we talked about it before, it's zer, and it's Zayn, U, and Rosh, but it's a strange woman or an enemy. Also, strange woman meaning prostitute or harlot, a whore, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So he's telling you better watch the mouth of a whore. Because guess what a whore gonna do? Say her lips smooth as a honeycomb, smoother than oil.
Oh, I read it. I'm thinking that she had lip gloss on.
No. No, it's lit when it's using that as but I can see why you would think that. When you look at smoother, the word is kalak and it means flattering. So she got flattering words. You know what I'm saying? See, hold on. So you gotta I remember I told y'all this before though. I met a dude who teach the word when I first met him and we were talking about something. He was like, he the truth. I said, I already knew in my mind that nigga don't like me. Because I don't trust a nigga come with all that flattery. See, as a young man, what a nigga tell you to do to get the women, right? What they tell you to do, tell them they this, tell them they that, tell them they this, tell them they that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know that flattery, that's how you'll get them. He said, I'm fine. That nigga just want that butt. That nigga tell you whatever he got to tell you to get that butt. Come over here to Psalm chapter 5 and verse 5. Children, y'all milling around. You milling around. You need to chill out. Psalm 5 and 5. Make it Psalm 5 and 3. Let me get that word up. Okay, it's the same word. So Psalms 5 and 3. He say, my voice shall you hear in the morning, O Yahuwah. In the morning will I direct my prayer unto you and will look up. For you are not an Elohim that have pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with you. The foolish shall not stand in your sight. You hate all workers of iniquity. See, a lot of people won't hear that, but that's just what it is. He said, you shall destroy them that speak leasing. Yahuwah will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. We'll just let y'all know what that word leasing is. It's been a while since I looked. I used to remember what it is. My mind tell me that it means violence. No, leasing is somebody who tells bold-faced lies. But as for me, I will come into your house in the multitude of your mercy, and in fear will I worship towards your Kadash temple. Lead me, O Yahuwah, in your righteousness because of my enemies. Make straight way before my face. Remember, he said because of his enemies. Remember, he said a strange woman is a prostitute, a harlot, or an enemy. Because a whore is an enemy. Always have been, always will be. A whore is an enemy. I ain't never too much really cared for whores. They nice people, but you don't want to marry them. I tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Like we live in this society now. What's the first thing? See, I'm gonna show you the work of manipulation of whorish women specifically. We live in a society that if a woman be like, it doesn't matter how many men I've slept with. Yes, it do, ho, because your value don't went down. You've been driven off the lot way too many times. You know what I'm saying? Why do I say that? Because the ancient times, a woman's value was built on her purity and her ability to have children. You know what I'm saying? Like in antiquity, a woman who had done slept with a whole bunch of men would have not seemed to be deemed to be valuable whatsoever. You been with 50 niggas? 25 niggas? Like how you been with 25 men before you turn 25? You know what I'm saying? You've only really had what? Maybe 6 or 7, maybe at the most, maybe 10 years of sexual activity? If you was $100,000 automobile at this juncture, nigga can only get maybe about 3,500 for you. You got too many miles. You know what I'm saying? You've been used up. Now imagine a woman who been used up and she 40. Now she trying to tell a man that he ought to love her even though she done slept with 100 niggas and got 4, 5 bastard children. But what does these whores out here tell you to do? What does it matter how many? Well, if it didn't matter, ho, you wouldn't have no problem telling it. You know what I'm talking about? You wouldn't be lying or trying to cuff it. Clearly, I know. See, it's one thing you meet a woman, she got 4 kids, but they from the same man. Then maybe he died. Maybe something happened. You know what I'm talking about? Man, you got 4 kids from 4 different niggas. Nigga already know what it is. You move around and you like it raw. But ain't that sort of thing now, right? What they call it? Don't slut shame. Come on, man. Use a whore. In the old times, they'd hit you with a rock. You don't even sit back and realize that your vagina is so valuable that you would guard its purity. But instead, you give it away like a lollipop on Halloween. And it is right now, ain't it? It's pretty easy. You know what I'm saying? But the women are telling you that you ought to value something that's pretty easy. Anything you've ever done in life that came easy, you didn't value it. You didn't cherish it. You didn't give it the proper respect you were supposed to give it because it came too easily. Anything that's of value, you know that there's a level of work and dedication and discipline that go along with that because it's valuable. Anybody can't get it. You know what I'm saying? If anybody can have your baby, what make you think? You know the worst part, you know it. Everybody in here know it. You went to school and there was a chick who was a hoe and she didn't want to give, she give everybody some booty, but she wants you to be her man. You know what I'm saying? And you like, out of all these niggas, why are you coming at me like this? Like, what is it about me that make you feel like, I know you slept with the whole football team, but I'll kiss you in the mouth and take you out on dates. No, I want to do what they did. You know what I'm saying? John, ain't nobody did you like that, dude.
Yeah, I think I hit that.
Damn! A chick I grew up with tried me like that because we grew up together. And tried to act like I ain't know she was a hoe. Nigga, we stayed right across the street. But I liked you since we were children. Well, clearly you haven't. Because you've been passed around more than a pack of new posts in the county jail, baby. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, man, don't play with me like that. Don't even disrespect me like that. See, that's because you was being a nice guy, wasn't you, John? You were nice to him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what being nice ain't getting you nowhere. He gonna get you nowhere. We already know that, because guess what? See, I'm saying that there because in the world they tell you what nice guy get put where. That's my friend. That's my homeboy. He don't get no booty. He just sitting there with the little thing to break the fire extinguisher to put that fire out when the nigga she was sleeping on been done hurt her. He gonna be there to comfort. He ready. He said, they gonna stand by. He ready to go. You ready to go? You got to be a man because a woman deemed that nice guy as being weak, so she don't want him. She don't find him attractive. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask me why.
They want aggression.
Yeah, they like a little aggression. Yeah, a little aggression. You know what I'm saying? Gotta have they want to see us a little manliness in you. You know what I'm saying? You around here like this here. I love you. I write poems for you. He's like, look at that weak nigga here, man. You know what I'm saying? You mess with this nigga. Ain't never had a nigga write me no poem. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is, man. I don't know, man. But you know, Yahuwah ain't like that. But guess what? Yahuwah wrote poems, and you niggas still didn't like it. He wrote your name. You know where he wrote your poem at? Nah, he writes no poem in songs. You know where he wrote your poem? Nah, he writes no poem in Genesis. He writes no poem there. Nah, little poem just for his lady. Songs of Solomon. He wrote a nice little poem for his lady. They were writing poems to each other. That's what niggas be like to say, you know, they tell you can get you some dome. Because Solomon, like I said, they said she described as palm trees and her breasts were like grapes. I said, well, y'all some freaking boys. Psalm 5 and 9 though. He said there's no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulcher. They flatter with their tongue. Now let's look at this flattering woman who's going to come flatter Yahusha with her tongue. Come on over here to the book of Matthew. Matter of fact, make it Mark 13, Mark 12. Mark 12. Let's look at some instances where they were coming to flatter. Y'all already know the strange woman who came to flatter, whose mouth was smoother than oil, right? Y'all know who the strange woman is specifically, right? You got two choices. Or you want to go to Babylon. That's who that smooth, that strange woman is. It's Judas thinking behind. Did he come? We're going to look at it. But let's look at some smooth, flattering words, but they inside full of wickedness. Come on here, what it is. Matthew chapter 12. Mark chapter 12. Mark 12 and 28. And say, and one of the scribes came, having heard them reason together, perceiving that he had answered them well, and asked, well, really, I got to back it up because that's not the one. About verse 18. That's how you look. Then came unto him the Sadducees, which said there's no resurrection. They asked him, saying, Master, Moses wrote unto us, if a man's brother die and leave his wife behind him and leave no children, then his brother should take his wife and raise up a seed unto his brother. Now there were 7 brethren, and the first took a wife and died and left no seed, and the second took and like them wives. And they asked him, whose wife would she be in the resurrection? Little do you know, them coming to him talking about master was to do what? To tempt. Those were flattering words. Most of the time when somebody, like, you have to be wary of somebody who always coming to give you compliments, because 9 times out of 10, they just flattering you to get your defenses down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never been, but see, that usually comes with, like, I'm not a person who requires outside validation or needs or wants attention. So a person coming giving me compliments or flattering me is not going to do anything for me. But if you're a person who desires that, you can be deceived. You know what I'm saying? And you can get caught up. Nevertheless. And also coming with the flattering words, they came to him on that one there too with the see, look at verse 14 in Mark 12. Look at the more flattering words. Look how they flattered him. And when they would come, they said unto him, Master. Well, look at verse 13. And they said unto him, send unto him certain of the Pharisees and of the Herodians to catch him in his words. Remember what we just read in Psalm 5 said there wasn't no faithfulness in him, right? And that they were inwardly wicked and that they were deceitful because they participated in leasing and they were coming to flatter with the tongue. Remember, if you attend yourself under wisdom and to know understanding and to regard discretion, this will keep you from the lips of the strange woman who has a flattering tongue. So again, like I said, you could look at it on the surface as it's describing the way of a whorish woman or a woman, but in reality, it's describing Yasharal and how those of Yasharal operate and conduct themselves, because you are that woman, because he likened Zion to a comely, delicate woman. It says, and when they would come, they said unto him, Master, we know that you are true and care for no man, for you regard not the person of men, but teach the way of Elohim in truth. Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not? Do you see all that butter they put on that bread? Before they asked that wicked question that they were asking. Told him how great he was. We know you don't respect persons. You teach truth. Whole time, it's wickedness in their heart, though. That's why, like I said, man, I used to tell Lil Muffin when she was young, that all the time, like, you You can't just go by some dude complimenting you and telling you how beautiful you are and this, that, there, and the third. And that your value in yourself should not be placed on your outward appearance. That way, a man could never be able to flatter you with compliments to cause you to yield to give your body up. Because if your value and your confidence is placed in who you are intrinsically as a woman, no man could ever flatter you with physical compliments to where you would be moved. But guess what? See, that's the father's job to teach that to his daughter. And to show that with his wife, that he values the intrinsic nature of his wife more than her physical beauty. Then his daughter would grow up realizing that and seeing that, and therefore, hopefully, if y'all be merciful, take on that same mindset. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, because we talked about that a while ago, it's the first thing that you want to compliment a young girl with when they tell them how pretty they are. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to tell them that, because random people are going to tell them that. But tell them things about how beautiful their character is or their personality is, and let them place their value on that versus what they see in the mirror. Because what they see in the mirror will change and fade. You know, one day y'all titties going to be at your kneecaps. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? One day you're going to have cottage cheese on your thighs. You know what I'm saying about? Your stomach ain't going to be as flat as it used to be. You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to say, what we're talking about right now. What day is you talking about?
Well, I don't know the ins and outs of your bodies, so that's why. But you know, just mentioning certain things here, because I don't know where nobody titties hanging at.
Oh yeah, I just missed the titty part. I can't count very much.
You know what I'm saying? But your body gonna change, and at that point, the only thing you're gonna have left is your character. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be more contingent and upon you to cultivate and build that. And that your looks and your body is the bonus. Because remember, I'm mentioning that again, referencing Proverbs 31, to be a while before we get there. That favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but the woman who fears you, who or she shall be praised. Your beauty is worthless. Don't get it twisted. Men like looking at a nice woman, but a man would rather have a woman with a beautiful spirit and character and an average face than a beautiful woman who's a demon on the inside. You know what I'm saying? But some niggas like that, because some niggas like chaos, because they were raised by a drama out woman. So, you know what I'm saying? Any real man don't like drama and chaos in his bastion of peace. Some niggas like that, because they grow up with drama out women. Let me ask y'all this question here, right? Because this has been on my mind, and I heard a dude say this here, and I just want to see y'all responses. Do y'all feel like that boredom is a very negative thing to have in a relationship with a man? Because dudes were talking about how women say that they don't like boredom when they're with a man.
You mean like having fun? You mean like bored in your relationship, like the conversation? You mean like literally?
They didn't have no details. They just said boredom.
You feel like do I like it's negative?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, from what them women said, they deemed it to be a negative. There's a reason why the dude asked that question, because with these women is because it was something else tied to it, which is in reality is equated to boredom, but it's something that women say they love for a man to do. I mean, because the dude asked, like, say the average woman likes to bring chaos or do certain things because she gets bored and feels like their situation needs to have some excitement. But a lot of women do it though.
Like I'm like trying to start arguments.
Not necessarily be arguments, but he's just saying, like, you know,
The man don't cheat or something like that.
Yeah, being an agent of chaos, trying to cause some type of chaos or drama because she's bored that every single solitary day is the same.
That people that used to that.
Absolutely. But what he was talking to them about is because that's what consistency is. The same thing day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? Consistency is not, it's not pretty. It's not flashy. It's not fun. It's not meant to be. Because he was like, why do y'all feel that way? But then y'all say y'all want a man who's consistent. Well, consistency to a certain extent is boring.
Well, yeah, because a lot of women feel like men who don't like being do silly stuff, they boring or they lame. I've heard a lot of people men who keep up like, yeah.
And that's being consistent. And that's consistent. And consistency is boring.
I feel like Shepard said, they need to learn how to sit down. It's like you are a busybody yourself,
Yeah.
and you feel like being in a relationship, that is what it's supposed to be. So you're gonna want to work.
That could be Zeta.
Yeah, these usually like women I know who put somebody on. They real silly, like they like to run around, go to the club every weekend. So any man who do something regular is boring.
Right, you gotta fit. You want to fit in with your friends.
And that's consistency. Put it this way, right? Tim Duncan. Y'all don't watch sports. Tim Duncan was considered to be one of the most boring athletes in history.
He is.
But he was consistent.
Yeah. He played by the fundamentals.
And guess what? That's not flashy and fun. That's not flashy and fun. People don't like it. You're not entertained by that. It doesn't get your juices running. Not just add, because he was giving a strong point, talking to them people, and they were making their points, and you know what I'm saying, just saying how these women like to try to keep stuff going, to keep a spark and all that type of stuff. But Shayla hit the nail on the head. Sometimes you need to sit your butt down, stay in the house, and just be with your family.
I know somebody like that.
We all do.
But like I said again, like remember now what I'm saying, certain things with women, that's not encompassing them, because you can't say every woman like that. It's there. Some women don't acknowledge it. Like I said, we were talking about this here. Every woman is an agent of chaos. Some women's agent of chaos is here, and some women's agent of chaos is there. All y'all know somebody who drama out. You know somebody who drama out. You don't talk to them much, do you? I don't blame you. You know what I'm talking about? But guess what though? When you see a man operating like that, what's the first thing y'all say? My point is, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand when you see a man doing certain things that you automatically? So how can the woman be mature than the man? That boy sound like he was at a funeral. Come over here to Luke chapter 11. He sounded like he was at a real okay. They finna bury Bobby Joe. Okay. Well, I'll pick it up about verse. I can't even use that. Let's just go on straight to Judas, man. And get this Matthew 27. I ain't got time to put it up. You already went over. And then from Matthew 27, I want to say Daniel 11 again. Now, Trina says that she said we need that challenge to be taught just like a child would do. But she says she sees that Yah's way is very exciting. Nature itself is changing, yet the same. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people, that's why a lot of people walk away from the word, because it's the same thing every day. You know what I'm saying? And they don't find that to be exhilarating as what you can get in the world. You know what I'm saying? Because you can do whatever it is that you want to do. $27 and what? Oh, I'm in 20. I'm at 27. We need 26. 26 and 47. My apologies. And while he yet spake to Judas, one of the 12 came with him, a great multitude, with swords and staves for the chief priests and elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave him a sign, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, the same as he, hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Yahusha and said, Hail, master, and kissed him. But the master already knew he had flattering words, because he had attended his ear to wisdom and attended to know knowledge. Look what he said. And he said unto him, friend, wherefore are you come? Say, where you coming from? Because where you went? I thought you were going to take that stuff to the pole. Ain't that what you said you was going to do? Remember what he told him in John 13 when he got him to do? He said, whatever you go do it quickly. You know what I'm talking about? But see, that's where when you understand plots and devices, then guess what can happen? You can peep the play. Coming to aid? Yeah, I get that. He peeped the play. Bleak was tripping. I'm the one getting all the money and moving all the work. I'm gonna kill this nigga. You know what I'm saying? But wisdom allows you to see that. Come on back to Proverbs 5, right? Verse 4. Look what he said her flattering words will end up doing. He said, but her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. When they came out with the Yahusha, what we just read? Swords and stains. He said her feet go down to death and her steps take hold on hell. Listen what he said, lest you should ponder the path of life, her ways are movable, that you cannot know them. He said, now you need to ponder the path of life. I had that word ready, but I didn't write it down. No, the path unmovable. So we talked about ponder last night. Ponder is palak. Now the word movable. Listen what movable is. Movable is nuah. And it means to quiver, to totter, to shake, to reel, to wander, to move, to sift, to tremble, to disturb, to cause to wander. A noon, a u, and a ie. So there's a seed that is trying to get you to be secured to what they know. He's saying you can't know that. I want y'all to get Daniel 11 again. I mentioned that and I didn't go to it. Mara, what's wrong with you, man? You having a bad day? Daniel 11 and 33. See, it's like when you're dealing with flatteries and you're dealing with the things of dealing with a woman of this sort, they're only coming for the explicit purpose to destroy you and take from you what's yours. This is again going about dealing with beware of your adversary, the devil, who goes about as a roaring lion, seeking to whom he may devour. Because a whorish woman is seeking to whom she may devour. Because at the end of the day, the man technically is supposed to have the substance. Of course, now we know it's backwards, and this is how it's different, because now the woman got the substance, and the man is hunting the woman like the woman's supposed to have been hunting the man, everything backwards. Because now the woman taking care of the man. You know what I'm saying? She go to work and work 40 plus hours and start the business and take care of him. So now you got dudes looking around here prowling for a woman who they can devour. And that's just horrible. You know what I'm saying? You know what's even horrible? That's just even a conversation that a man ought to take care of his woman. See, I ain't talking about no girlfriend. Because you shouldn't be taking care of no girlfriend. If you paying your girlfriend's bills, you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? That's not your wife. Nigga, you dumb. She ought to be taking care of herself. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to pay her bills, then you need to marry her. And if you ain't going to marry her, then what you with her for? But guess what? It's a whole bunch of people live their life like that. Paying bills of a woman they don't want to marry. You are the definition of an idiot. You can't tell me that's sane, rational thinking. Because it's not. But you know what dudes do that? See, we were talking about this here. Y'all know what a concubine is, right? Y'all know what you know what a concubine is? Nisha, you know what a concubine is?
It's one of the, is it not somebody who works? Like a side chick?
No, she's not a side chick, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of chicks.
That was what you call it, pregnant and got pregnant and had to make issues.
No, she wasn't a concubine. She was a handmaid. I got what? You know what a concubine is, don't you? Callie, you know what a concubine is? What's a concubine, Callie? No, concubine's not a hoe. Do you know what a concubine is?
Ain't that like she had your kids basically?
That's what a handmaid. A concubine is a woman who lives with a man and gets protection and provision, but does not have the rights and standing as a wife. She's not a side chick because she dwells there. He takes care of her. She doesn't have the rights of a wife. No, that's not a hoe.
Is it like
a hoe?
That's like when you have
But that's not a hoe. Because, no, but see, that's not a hoe. A whore is someone who sleeps with multiple men. She's only with this man.
No man.
But no, it's not your man.
She's only married, but it's not.
No, she gets, listen, that is her man. But she doesn't have the rights of a wife.
Like you shaking her.
Huh? No, he can have sex with her, but if there was some manner of inheritance, any rights or privileges that a wife has, a concubine
Like
does
we
not.
lived together, but we weren't married. I was a concubine.
Oh yeah, you were definitely a concubine. You were definitely a
I was
concubine.
the only chick. I lived with him. He loved me, but I.
The difference is, if you already married.
Let me pull the
That's
word.
what my question was. Is he already married? And you like another person who's like a sister wife?
You're not even. You're not a
But
wife.
you're not married, but it's like you got multiple of concubines, but you still live.
The
with
way you
your
said,
She's a wife.
She's not a mistress. She's not a mistress because she's known. See, what you're doing is you're taking modern day thought process, but you're not a sister wife because you're not a wife. There's no such thing as sister wife on top of that.
Dwayne, did you say the king or the concubine? Like, the king doesn't sleep with the concubine?
No, David chose not to sleep with his concubines when he was getting ready to die.
But Solomon.
Yeah, Solomon, but you may get to them concubines, you may not. Let me pull the word concubine up for you.
Alongside you.
No, you just. Yeah, you just take.
Pretty much, because as an unmarried woman, as an unmarried woman in our culture, if you did not have a man, you were not entitled to be protected by anyone, nor were you entitled to be cared for by anyone.
So the only difference other than like shacking up is that he got a wife who just somebody who he knows.
You know, you come into an agreement, and she agrees that I will be your concubine.
Which is pretty much like when I be saying sister wife.
And he
Like,
just
I'm
what?
not
Because there's no such term as sister wife. Niggas made that up.
No, polygamy.
No, this polygamy is not what it is. It's polygyny, and then they don't call it sister wives. That's just my wife.
I'm saying that because that's a TV show where
I know that. That's what.
got like
I know what you're talking about. What I'm telling you is that's a made up term. Sister wife does not exist in our culture. It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
But a concubine is a woman, like I said, right? If you didn't live with your father, if you weren't married and you lived with your father was your provision and your protection. If you did not have a man, like how some people say we need to protect black women, that was not a random man job to protect you. That's or your husband.
Right. And if you ain't under the protection of your daddy, you either roll coach or you somebody concubine.
Period.
You roll coach from house to house, sleep with niggas wives, sleeping with married niggas, and from house to house hoeing, or you somebody concubine. Somebody else come in and protect you, but you not his wife. That's it. Or you at your dad's house.
You agree?
What you mean?
Yeah, are you a wife? That's it.
Now it also means concubine or paramour, and that's and it can mean a lover, especially the illicit partner of a married person. But the difference in our way is that if a woman was a concubine, that was known. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't no mistress and I got you off in the cut. You are part of the family, but you're not. You basically, like y'all mentioned, them handmaids. Your rights is about the same as that handmaid. None. Like I can put you out my house when I get ready. I don't have to give you a bill of divorce. I don't have to do nothing because you're not my wife. You're my concubine. You know what I'm saying? What the brother was talking about was this: that a lot of dudes give wife privileges to women who are in reality are concubines.
You still have to say
You got no knowledge. That's
No,
it.
it's not, because the wife got the decision making ability. Wife got.
She has inheritance rights.
I know that's what she's saying. The difference is you just there to be there. Yeah, you just there.
You're not just there to be there. You also have provision and protection that you wouldn't have.
But say if I had a concubine, she do everything you do.
Yeah,
Yep.
but if something happens, she don't have a legacy. She's not your wife.
You said like, what's the benefits of it?
Provision and protection.
Somebody taking care of you.
same way as these hoes with these niggas at their house and he ain't married to them.
But guess what? Listen, let me tell you something. You know why a lot of women be concubines? Because you're not a wife. No one will marry you because you're not wife material. See, a lot of women feel like they wife material. Who told you that? Because you'll know if you're wife material based how a man moves towards you. And you would be, but like a man would come to you with the intention of, you're going to be my wife. And then he going to marry you. If a nigga come at you and he be like, okay, we can live together. I'm going to dig your guts out. This, that, that, the third. He don't see you as a wife. You a concubine. Because ain't no man going to treat a woman who he know is wife material in such a fashion. He ain't going to do it. Like I seen the dude talking about chick say, I've been with my man for 6 years. That nigga don't see you as no wife. They don't take a nigga 6 years to know he want to marry you. Not when he been living with you, jumping up and down in your guts. If you think it take a nigga 6 years to figure that out, you on drugs. Shoot, 6 years? You mean to tell me I've been laid up in here with you? You've been cooking for me. I've been sucking on your titties. We've been seeing each other naked. You know what I'm talking about? And I still don't know if I want to make you my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest, right? It don't take that long. It don't take that long. Now, the difference is if once a man decided that, you shouldn't marry in a short period of time, but it don't take a man long to know that I have intentions on making her my wife. Niggas only do concubines like that. You know what I'm saying? If we was to look at it in terms of how men behave, nigga laid up with you, jumping up and down in you, and you like this here. I'm his wifey. How long y'all been married? Guess what? Niggas scream about all that there. Nipsey Hussle treated Laura London like a concubine. He ain't married. Treated her like a concubine. But I'm using that because niggas was saying, I mentioned her for one reason. Because people said that was his wife, and they were not married. So guess what happens when he passed? That woman don't have any right to anything he had. Concubine. Concubine. Because guess what? If you die, like I said, if you in our way, right, and you die and you don't have any kids, your inheritance went to your wife. You know what I'm saying?
So the concubine dies, she just dead. And if he dies, she just left with nobody.
With nobody.
Oh, nothing.
How do I feel about you? Do I
It doesn't matter how the wife feels. That's the problem. That's where you get it twisted at.
No, I'm just saying, is it like an agreement she did with us, or is it?
No, you're not involved in that equation.
She's known. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's known, but he's not consulting you and say, baby, can I get a concubine? It's the new concubine. That nigga say this is Beatrice. But you know why you looking that way? Because you live in a culture that's different than antiquity. So in antiquity, the man didn't have to come consult you and ask you or tell you that he was taking another spouse or taking a concubine. Like you said, you came home one day, here's Beatrice. Say hello. Say hello. Beatrice.
Well, back to we weren't raised.
Who are you?
I was gonna say.
No. But now when you look in the text and you see the people who had concubines, they were usually kings. When you look in the text and you see people who had a lot of wives, they were quote unquote common people who had more than one wife. Because Samuel daddy was not a king, and he had 2 wives. You know what I'm saying? The gentleman in Genesis chapter 4, whose name escapes me at this time, I want to say Lemuel, he had 2 wives. You know what I'm saying? Gideon was not a king, and he had 18 wives and 70 children. And they described them as his. Saul had a concubine, David had concubines, we know Solomon had concubines, but it's not a lot of dudes in the text that are mentioned that had concubines. Now it says Solomon had 300 concubines and 700 wives. I mean, he would have had to sex them to consummate that marriage.
What?
Wow.
She was asking about
the wives. You don't have to have sex with a concubine. Matter of fact, let me show you something. 2 Samuel.
Yeah, I meant the concubine.
So she just does this to do like duties.
Yeah, and she's there for whatever he want her to be there. But
Booty is available.
He has sex.
You know, she might just want to take care of her.
he might just want to take care of her. He might just want to protect her. It's not about sex when you're taking the concubine.
She ain't giving no food, but
Extra labor, right?
but I guess if you want food, she has to give it. I don't know.
Extra help.
You gonna end up taking her to be a wife.
But he got a wife.
Yeah, I'm saying like how Solomon had 400 or 700. Yeah, if you want a concubine to be a wife.
Come over here to 2 Samuel chapter 20 and verse 1.
700
We'll come back to Daniel 11. 2 Samuel 20. Now it's going to show mention that David's concubines entered into widowhood. 20 and 1.
I know Jacob, that he just had handmaids or whatever, right?
Get in a chair. Calm down.
Didn't Jacob have other children by?
But those were handmaids. So that means a handmaid is a servant to a woman. Leah and Rachel already had those handmaids before they met Jacob. They would be their handmaid's mistress or their servants. So in those instances, say even say with Rahab and then with Leah and Rachel handmaids, if you were barren, you would give your handmaid to your husband for them to have a baby. And then that baby, that's what happened with Rachel and Leah. Rachel was barren. She was giving Jacob her handmaid so that she could have a baby through her handmaid. And then when Leah saw that, she began to compete and gave her handmaid. This is why people think Jacob had 4 wives when he really only had 2.
And the baby technically come from.
It would technically come, they would be as if they were the wife's child. Indeed. Better word to you. Better word to you. 2 Samuel 20 and 1. It said there happened to be there a man of Belial whose name was Sheba, the son of Barachi a Benjamite, and he blew a trumpet and said, "We have no part in David, neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse, every man to his tents." So every man of Yasharal went up from David and followed Sheba the son of Barachi, but the men of Yehuda clave unto their king from Jordan even to Jerusalem. David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and put them in the ward and fed them, but went not in unto them. So they were shut up until the day of their death, living in widowhood. So he took them 10 women, they were their concubines, but he said, I ain't gonna lay with them, and they couldn't be with another man till the day they died. Because that's the agreement that they made with him. But guess what? They were staying in the king's house with complete provision.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the whole point you gotta understand. That's what they get. They stay in this nigga man's house for free, for nothing. Ain't gotta do a little butt or nothing. So if you a woman that ain't married, a woman will take that and be cool with it, even though she ain't his wife, because she just gonna be taken care of. You getting everything the wife getting. Right, yeah. And you ain't no wrong boy being dead in kind of way.
Indeed. To an extent. To an extent, she said is that the concubine symbolic of the other nations coming under Yah's rule. But the only reason I say to an extent because the other nations would have right to a wife with Yahusha. They got right to everything that we got right to.
But they ain't got the right to what it's saying. They ain't got the right to teach. They ain't got the right.
No, they don't have those
rights. Got the rights
but they have the rights to the covenant and the land and the service. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got the right to that. No, you'll sit your black behind down.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would.
But everything else, they got a right to that.
And they don't got rights to. And they don't got rights to be like ruling. Yahusha like the
No, that's the same as teaching. They don't have that right. They have the right to everything else. They got right to everything else. They'll come back to Proverbs 5. I was just going to read it Daniel where he said he corrupt the wise with flatterers. Brother just said the thing ended too, man. I might hit Eric up, see where it's at. After 1 and 1. Zadok just hit me, said it ended.
No, that's a baby screen.
Where we at, right? But see, I didn't mention that there because it's just the perspective. Because it was something when I was listening to the dude talk about it, a couple people clicked in my head and like, yeah, that's why niggas do you like that because you a concubine. You know what I'm saying? If a nigga see you as a wife, he's gonna make you his wife. He's not gonna treat you like a concubine. Like Yahusha ain't treat you like no concubine. He gave you the rights of a wife in his household. We in verse 7 of Proverbs 5. He say, hear me now, therefore, O you children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. He say, remove your way far from her. Come not near the door of her house. He said, don't you come around there messing with them bald-headed hoes. That's what he wanted you to. Leave them bald-headed hoes alone. Because look what he say, what's going to happen to you if you don't. He say, lest you give your honor unto others and your years unto the cruel. That's why you don't need to mess with bald-headed hoes. That's what I was telling you about protect your seed. You can't take your seed and give it to no bald-headed hoe. You know how many of y'all know dudes that's sad about the woman they got a child from?
That would be an understatement.
Understatement. You know what I'm saying? Anguish. And you know why? You know why? Because you gave your seed away. Yeah, she told you were crazy, but you like that tickle in your pickle. So you kept on going. You said, I like it. Like you said, that's Mikey. He likes it. You kept going around it. No, you wasn't ducked out. You were mesmerized by that booty. You were coochie tied. That's what was going on. That coochie had you going. Oh, you know what it was, man. Look here, right. If you're gonna be real with it, you know exactly why you kept fooling with it.
It wasn't that. I don't know. I didn't really sit down and talk about it. It wasn't we were getting plenty of booty.
But it doesn't matter about how much you get, it's that booty.
Yeah, that one. The booty wasn't all that.
But it ain't got to be all that. It could be about how she made you feel while you were doing it. Could have been the ego stroke. Nah, but see, you just said you ain't thought about it. But it's something. Well, nigga don't mess with no chick he know ain't no good for no reason unless it's one other explanation that you an idiot.
Oh, what he said?
What he said.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. Well, I don't equate. I don't know that slang.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I don't know.
I really was an idiot, bro.
Well, then that's it. That's all we need.
Like, I really was. Like, it wasn't.
But hey, that's all I need. He just said what it was. I was stupid.
Yeah.
I can accept that and take that.
It wasn't.
You know, sometimes niggas like I said, she just cooked them green beans just how I like it. Nigga, stay on right.
What the green beans is? You didn't even know how to cook.
Oh, yeah, you was stupid.
All right. I agree.
Now, sometimes, you know what? Also, it could have been, you could have liked the chaos that she was causing and stayed in that environment. You could have enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Can't get.
Like when you talk, I'm just thinking about my life. Like I was just
There's drawers in the back of our
She said she did that voodoo on her. Oh, my lamb. We gonna leave that where it's at. That nigga pulled an old line out on you. You know what I'm saying? But no, sometimes it is like this. Like I said, no women feel that way. You know, I got a child, but like, boy, dudes be sick, especially if he got a son and that whole stupid. Niggas be sick. I told you about my homeboy. That nigga say his baby mama used to call, and I've been with him, so this ain't nothing he told me. I was sitting right there. She would call him and say, the baby need clothes. That nigga said, I just bought her some clothes. They dirty. They need to be washed. Buy some new. Oh, go to the laundromat. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do with a woman who call you and tell you, I need new clothes because I don't want to wash the other ones? Sad life. Hey, Abby. So you've been using the pot a little effectively.
She from let's say about her new car, she was gonna call the police and tell them she'll beat them.
Oh, a lot of women do that one. A lot of women do that one. You don't do something he won't, and you gonna hit yourself in the jaw and say that man hit you, or call them people and say he did this and say he did that. Niggas don't do that. Come on, man. Proverbs 5, man. Look at verse 10. He said, let strangers be filled with your wealth and your labors be in the house of a stranger. Now, how does that relate to the gospel? Yeah. Quit Proverbs 5. Just read verse 9 about not giving your honor to others and your years unto the cruel, and let strangers be filled with your wealth and your labors be in the house of a stranger. Listen what he said. Lest you mourn at the last, and when your flesh and your body are consumed, and say how I've hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. So come over here to Mark chapter 9. See, this is what happens when you listen to a stranger and you get, see, this is another reason when he say, when sinners entice these sons, consent not. And why he say evil communications corrupt good manners. Because if you would have attended unto wisdom and bowed your ear to understanding and regarded instruction, a discretion, I should say, and kept your lips, kept knowledge, then you would have been able to avoid this woman and not be destroyed. Mark 9 and what, 28? No, Mark 9 and 43. Because he said you're going to mourn at the last when your flesh and your body is consumed. So I guess y'all know what he's talking about, right? He's talking about you going to hell because you don't listen. You know what I'm saying? In general, indeed. And that's exactly. And remember what I told you was in Ezekiel 16? He said you give your gifts to all your lovers and get nothing in return. He said, therefore, you are contrary to other whores. Because he said they give gifts to all whores. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? It's a lot of women in this country right now. If a nigga walked up to him with a diamond chain, diamond bracelet, they'll fall all out. That nigga don't see you nothing but a whore. It didn't cost him nothing to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, but why does that happen? Because you're intrigued. Oh, he bought me something, so he feel this particular. But guess what the law tell you? Don't take a gift, because gifts blind the eyes of the wise. Because you might not. You see the gift, now your eyes shut to why this person bought you the gift. We'll go back to what I mentioned aforetime. Like people could buy you something and give you something, and they have an ulterior motive. Some people do it because they rock with you like that. And you want to make sure that that man rock with you like that, and he's not doing it just to gain favor with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you think the society push, take me on a date and take me here. All that stuff don't mean nothing. That's a gift. Then they give gifts to all. Niggas take whores on dates. Niggas take whores on trips. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't make you any special than any other woman because niggas do it for whores. And niggas have a whole wife at the house and do it for a whore. So you really supposed to be seeing, does this nigga have the character and conduct that you value, and does he rock with you in that capacity that he's there for you and not for what's in between your legs? You know what I'm saying? And the average woman does not have the discretion or mental capacity to discern that because she get caught up with the flashy stuff that nigga throwing in her face.
I knew he brought his wife and his little side chick on the cruise.
That nigga bold.
His wife was on her period. So he knew he wasn't gonna kick nothing.
He said he knew a man that brought his whore and his wife on a cruise. Oh, his wife was on her menstrual cycle, so he said I ain't gonna be moving and grooving on that boat. So I had to bring up some backup church, and that's what he did.
What's the wife? Did the wife know?
No. I don't know how you put it off, but
it ain't hard.
It ain't hard, but
A lot of people out there don't know what that is.
Straight up. It ain't hard. Well, one thing about it, I don't know why y'all shocked, because I'll say this here. I'll put it to you this way. Men tell lies, but I feel like women are greater liars, because a woman can play the role of her being a certain type of woman for 4 or 5 years till she get tired of playing. I've seen some very duplicitous and deleterious women in my time. You know what I'm saying? What? Delterious, if my memory serves me correctly.
Something that
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's for real though, man. You done see women. How many women y'all know act like they a lady and you know they sluts? And this niggas around here don't even know this is a $2 whore. You know what I'm saying? Carry themselves like a lady. She's a bust down. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just saying that if in my opinion, I feel like women are a lot more deceitful. I mean, sit back and look at them. You wear fake hair, you wear fake nails, you wear fake eyes, fake butts, fake titties. Niggas' whole life a lie. You know what I'm saying? That ain't your belly. Your belly hang over your belt. You got a girdle on, your stomach ain't that flat. You got heels on, you ain't that tall. You know what I'm saying? Your hair ain't that long, you bald headed. You done seen Dr. Miami, went to the Dominican, they done put fix the flat in your booty. Your booty wasn't that big. You got silicone in your chest and had a nerve to say all men are liars. Well, shoot, your whole life is a lie, but you say you want a real man. How? When you're a fake person. Like literally everything. Y'all seen I'm gonna get you sucked. That hoe took everything off. She had nothing left. You ain't seen that so long? That's something funny.
Extra funny. They got 20 on the chains on.
Did he though? Mark chapter 9, verse 38. Predatory, you right, shoot. There ain't a lot of predatory people. Because but you know why the woman has to be is like that? Even though we live in a society where women are quote unquote equal, she has more to gain to attach herself to this man because he's supposed to be providing a service, having provision for her. Then she can slide and leave him and take everything he got. And these women know it. And scout for it. You don't see dudes posted up at a tennis match talking about, boy, I'm gonna get Serena, boy. Them hoes be at the arena waiting on these niggas. Be at the concert waiting on them. Men don't do that. You ain't never seen a whole bunch of men waiting for Janet Jackson to come out of show. I got penis for you. I got penis for you. But guess what? Let's shoot. We ain't gonna use him because he gonna hit the middle school. But who I'm trying to think of, man? Let Drake pull up and do a show at the arena, and it's gonna be women trying to find his hotel and offer that butter with hopes that he drop his seed in them and get them pregnant. You know what I'm saying? You don't never hear niggas about a nigga going backstage for a celebrity. Oh, I got backstage passes. Oh, you going back in there to top him off.
It's rare you hear niggas throwing their boxes on stage.
What? You ain't never heard a nigga throwing no boxes at Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan was fired in her prime. But you always hear about women throwing them crusty, musty drawers on stage. Doggone drawers hard in the middle. You throwing them on stage. But I'm just telling you though, and guess what though? And also too, we have to just be real with it on top of it too. Like I say, it's not all women, but let's be honest with you. The book say a virtuous woman is valuable and hard to find, so that means it's probably 95% whores and 5% decent women. You know what I'm saying? The mass majority of women are whores and have that female psychology that we talk about if we believe the word is true. Because he said a strong woman is rare. who can find her. That's what he said. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? You got all these women walking around. I'm a good woman. Who told you that? Your bald-headed whole friends? Because if a man who's a man ain't came and told you you's a good woman, then you probably not. Because you know your bald-headed whole friends will tell you the greatest thing since sliced bread. See, he don't know, girl. He don't know. You's a good one. See, he gonna figure it out when you're gone. The nigga don't. If he don't care you leave, that mean you wasn't good. Nigga say I ain't lost nothing. That hoe ain't nothing but a bill. All she do was get on my nerves. You know what I'm talking about? Get what? That's what you just said about right. Your first situation. I bet she was around there telling people too. He took a loss. Nigga like this here. I finally got peace. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Because you ain't that good. You're not as good as you think you are. And that's why I mentioned like with Aisha Curry sitting up there with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and the other women. They were confirming her and supporting her and uplifting her. And in reality, all y'all bald-headed hoes sitting up here. I meant to say something else. I meant to say Frankenberry, because boy, Jada Pinkett has not aged gracefully. It's something. She don't look human no more. She definitely looked like the nigga on the cereal box, vampire nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Or Frankenberry monster. She has not aged gracefully. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's what happened when you play with your face. Don't play with your face. That nigga don't look real no more. That nigga looked like she looked like if you was walking down the hallway in the middle of the night and she turned the corner, you gonna have a heart attack. You gonna freeze. Shoot, boy, that nigga ugly now. Same way Vivica Fox. Vivica Fox looked like a caricature, nigga. Now, I seen a brother say that a woman don't usually mature till she's 45. Vivica Fox, 54 years old, and now she talking about she gonna try to pick a man for a man instead of his meat stick. It took you 54 years to figure that out, ho? Now you've been ran through. Don't nobody want that old used up coochie. I just seen little Scrappy Mama around here talking about too much butt in the bag. Beat, how I'm back on the market, I'm back on the prize. Sit your old raggedy behind down somewhere. But I'm mentioning them for the fact of this is female nature. You know what I'm saying? This female, so you picked a bad nigga, and your idea was, let me get on the internet with my titties out, and look at all this butt I got back here. To attract another no good nigga. But you maturer than me though. Because I need non-sexual and sexual attention from men to validate me for my raggedy coochie and mind state that this nigga didn't want to keep. Because I'm a pre-owned, I ain't even a pre-owned vehicle. She got a salvage title. You know what I'm talking about? No pre-owned vehicle. That nigga got a salvage title. But is it a lie though? Y'all know some hoes with a salvage title. They done took that thing to the yard and tried to rebuild it. That junk might only last another 5,000 miles. You know what I'm talking about? That's over with. Like, what? That's a builder coochie. You don't want that. You don't want that. I'm just sitting here trying to tell you. But guess what happened? When you stupid enough to go with that, she gonna take your stupid butt to hell. And it's gonna be your fault because you didn't listen. Because your daddy done told you. You know what I'm talking about? 9:38. He say, John answered him saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in your name, and he followed not us, and we forbade him because he followed not us. Yahusha said, forbid him not. For there is no man which do a miracle in my name that can lightly speak evil of me. But he that is not against us is on our part. For whosoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Mashal, truly I say unto you, he shall not lose his reward. Whosoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in me, it is better for him that a millstone will hang about his neck, and he will cast into the sea. And if your hand offend you, cut it off. For it is better for you to enter into life maimed than to having two hands to go into hell and to the fire that shall never be quenched. Where the worm die not and the fire is not quenched. Now what that sound like? Huh? Shoot, Trina say, show that Carfax. But a lot of women don't want to show that Vagifacts. Now look what we said in Proverbs 5, right? Remember, what did Yahusha say people in that lake would be doing? It would be a what? Weeping and mourning and wailing and gnashing of teeth. And why? Because what did we read last night? Because you declined your ear, or you turned your ear from the word. You didn't want to keep wisdom in your mouth. See, you know, this didn't happen to Yahusha. His flesh and his body wasn't consumed because he hearkened unto his father. So therefore, he was able to recognize the smooth and the oil words. He was able to recognize and have discretion and not fall for the plot and ride from the dead because he listened to the word. Because that woman who's coming to try to take him and consume him is Yasharal. You know what I'm talking about? But also at the same token, women behave like this. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Now listen, I'm going to read y'all that verse 12, man, again, and we'll stop right there and pick up the rest, man. He said, how I've hated instruction and my heart despised reproof, and I have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. Come to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. That's where we'll stop at. He said, you ain't want to incline your ears to instruction. I hated my teachers. I hated discipline and chastity. And all that is in 2 Thessalonians. Yeah, that's just the Brooklyn city right there. I moved on that one because they did one for LA, but it was limited edition, and he dropped those. So I said, let me grab one of those because they don't. Yeah, that's Rodney. Yeah, that's Taylor. I forget what he said the planes represent. Oh, you following your dream or something. Something like that. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 10. Then what he said, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. For this cause Elohim shall send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth and have pleasure in unrighteousness. So this is why the individual, because he gave his honor to another, right? So he said, you know what, since you despised instruction and you didn't listen to your teachers, I'm going to let your flesh, listen what he said, your flesh and your body to be what? Let's see what the word consume is there before we get up off here. When you look at the word consume, it's kala, and that is to complete or to be at an end or to be finished, to be spent, to accomplish, to fulfill, and to bring to pass, and also to destroy and to exterminate. So when you turn around and you don't listen, and you don't hearken and listen to the word, the end is for your flesh and your body to be exterminated. And remember when Yahusha rose from the dead, he said, what? Flesh and a spirit don't have flesh and bones as you see me have. You know what I'm saying? So when you see how, because you know a lot of people say, how you going to go to hell? And he told you your flesh and body going to be consumed or put to an end, or I'm going to accomplish the wrath that I have determined to accomplish on those who do not obey. But you know, hallelujah for Yahusha. We'll stop right there. Y'all willing, we'll pick it up again on Wednesday. Keep it going. But you see, Proverbs 5 is really about you not messing with whores. You know what I'm saying? And it's really showing you what's going to happen when you see that a woman will come and flatter you and try to put you in a certain position when you should have listened to what your daddy taught you. See, you know, a lot of men can't even recognize a whorish woman because they didn't have a daddy to teach them. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I got close to that was my nigga Tightwad. And he was like, man, to get your money, man. Because them hoes don't come. But he was like, when they come, just make sure you pick the right one. You know, but you 16, you don't even know what the right one is. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you have to take the time to get to know somebody and get to know yourself. And you'll be able to do that. But, you know, I bless all y'all in the house. Y'all name of Yahusha. I appreciate your time. You who are willing to the next time. Because we out. I'm waiting to get that address, man. It's gonna be in Orange Park.